Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And I know I say this at every episode, but today's guest is absolutely amazing. He is a certified hospitality trainer. First of all, I think everybody needs one of those. And today we're going to learn a little bit more why he moved to a small little island from the US. We talk to you in a little bit. And we are back again. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show, and I'm really excited for today's conversation with Pavlos. He also said if we can pronounce his name, we can call him Paul. So for me, Pavlos, I'm really excited to have you here. You are what you call a certified hospitality trainer. You are a blogger, you are a restaurant manager, and you
Mhm.
work in a very small country or a very small island, you said. So talk to us a little bit. Where are you calling in from? And what is it you currently do?
So, yeah, I was actually born in Cyprus. Cyprus is an island of Greek heritage and culture, but it's independent from Greece. And yeah, I always wanted to study and work in hospitality, as my father was in hospitality. Uh, Even though he strongly advised me not to, as he was like, "Don't you see me? I'm always at work. You never see me. Are you sure? Study something else, etc., etc." But I was always around the hospitality environment, so I loved it from the day one. And when I finished high school and it was time in Cyprus to have some exams, that some general exams after high school, and then you get accepted according to your grades. You get accepted to a specific school of whatever subject, and I skipped the exams because I didn't want to imagine myself doing anything else. So I kind of forced myself in the industry, and yeah, I studied in Greece, then did my bachelor's in Switzerland in Glion Hospitality School, if you have heard of it.
Yep.
And then my first professional experience was when I moved to the States in Fort Lauderdale in Florida, where I did a training management in Marriott Harbor Beach.
Hmm.
Um, which was an eye opener for me. The way Americans work, how business oriented they are, and how organized they are, is something that definitely is missing from the Mediterranean culture. Um, so yeah, I brought this back with me in Cyprus, and yeah, worked a bit in a few hotels here and there. Then for the last 6 years, I've been a general manager in Dionysus Mansion, fusion creative Greek Cypriot cuisine restaurant. And yeah, you have mentioned that I'm a certified hospitality trainer. It's a diploma that I've acquired from the government a few months ago.
That is
And
awesome.
I've started slowly uh, being trained, first of all, and being coached to do this. And I'm just like the tag along guy for the moment. And the reason I did this is because I am aware that it's difficult to be forever on the floor.
Yeah,
And I never want to retire. So I want to be in touch with the industry in that format, let's say.
that's awesome. So I love, first of all, I love your background. It's, my dad made me get in this industry too. And it's amazing what food can do for you. But I love the idea of how you kind of worked into this. You have a very impressive background in managing award-winning restaurant establishment. You led some five-star hotels. You work in both local and international hospitality brands, which is absolutely amazing. And I want to have a little bit more of a conversation with that. And How do you kind of merge the idea of the training? I want to know a little bit more why you gotten into
Mhm,
blogging. So talk to
mhm,
us a little bit. What started all of it? So you are in this industry, and where do
mhm.
you find what are some of the key strategies for managing not just a successful restaurant, but a hotel, in an international country?
Um, Listen, there's like if you notice from my blogging, which I started not very long ago. It's been a year. I'm very straightforward. I don't use too many fancy words. I'm just like straight to the point. You need to do
Yeah.
this, and that. Um, and to manage a successful restaurant, first of all, it starts with you. You need to have tremendous work ethic. Your staff needs to exemplify from you. If you're lazy and
Hmm.
if you don't walk the talk, they're not going to walk along with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, that's number one. Two, I think it's really key to have an extremely good relationship with the kitchen and break this traditional um, culture of services against kitchen, which I never
Yeah.
understood. Never understood. And well, I mean, the third, you need to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
You need to be extrovert. You need to be able to be around people all the goddamn time. I mean, you're around guests all the time and staff all the time and owners all the time, and you need to be able to handle this pressure of being constantly exposed. And sure, there is other more technical things, manage your costs and
Yeah.
upsell and all that, but I think everything starts with mindset and culture.
Yeah, I love in your blogs, you talk a lot about how crucial it is to have consistent quality, and not just consistent quality in food and service, but in everything what you do. So where did you come up with that, and how do you practice this in your current position?
So consistency um, starts by having someone to support you.
Hmm.
So being a manager, so many managers have the idea that the staff works for them. I know it's gonna sound cliche, but you really work for them as well.
Hmm.
So you need to put in the work and you need to stay true to your word with whatever you say. You need to do constant trainings, you need to do constant briefings, you need to be consistent with everything that you preach, and you need to supervise, of course, without micromanaging.
Hmm.
This is really, really, really important. And you need to be also organized. So that's why I keep always an agenda on my phone. And from day to day, I'm probably a psycho with this. I have an agenda of what time I eat breakfast to the time I go to bed. This is what I do. It's the only
Hmm.
way, man. It's the only way for me, at least. I don't advise anyone to be so psychotic, but that's how it works for me.
And that's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about the whole idea of, I don't think a lot of people understand. So what is a certified hospitality trainer to begin with?
Okay, so in Cyprus we have a system. It's called it's an institution, the HRDA organization, which is a governmental institution, and what they do, they get funded from Europe,
Yep.
and basically they hire some lecturers to teach professionals, adults,
Yep.
how to train uh, other professionals, other adults, and how it's basically when you get this, it's very structured. Okay, so there's
Yeah.
very strict guidelines of what you should teach and how you should teach it and in what format. And basically, if you become a certified trainer, um, you can teach in the field that you're qualified.
Hmm. Understand.
Um, you can go and consult and lecture uh, in restaurants and hotels, and they get whatever they pay me, they get everything back. They get 80% actually back from the government of Cyprus.
Wow. I love that idea. So it's in everybody's best interest to bring somebody like you on to do as much training as you possibly can. It's an inexpensive way to have some really high quality training.
Exactly, exactly.
Love that. I love that.
Um, yeah.
We need to bring this to the US.
Oh, 100%, man. 100%.
So,
Knowing how
so
expensive everything is in the States right now, they should really benefit from a little bit of government support.
that's funny. I love that. So I'm really fascinated about the whole idea of being the hospitality trainer. So what do you think is the most important skills you teach to the people which come to your lectures?
Okay, so basically, as I said, I'm still a beginner, but I would
Yeah.
tell you my experience from tagging along, and hopefully by next year I'll be practicing it a bit more. Um, what what you're supposed to teach, except from technical skills like how to serve and
Yeah.
how to answer a phone and how to do all this, is basically how to operate as a team. So
Yeah.
um, you have during the lectures, during the trainings, you're supposed to do a lot of energizer exercises, because otherwise, the students are just going to fall asleep just watching you reading out of the slide. You know what I mean? So every energizer that you do is something that you need to make all the team participate, all the students participate at the same, all the attendants participate at the same time, and everything is based around teamwork and coordination.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. So when you do the training, so start us out. So I'm a participant. I would hire you to come in and do this
Hmm.
training. How would you work
Hmm.
with my staff? Is there milestones you put in place, or is there something you put across? So tell me, how do you teach? Is it hands on? Is it via just speaking? How do you do those trainings?
It depends. It depends. I mean, the first thing that happens before even the training starts, the trainer goes to the hotel or the restaurant and meets with the GM, and
Yep.
the GM tells him, "Listen, I have this problem. I have these gaps. What do you identify that is the training needs of our team?"
Yeah.
So it could be just plain lecturing in a class. It could be on the job training. It could be theoretical. It could be practical. It
Yeah.
depends strictly on every situation. That's what makes it so interesting, that you need to use your judgment as well to identify what are the needs.
I love that because you customize it then for every training. I love that. Love
Exactly.
that. So talk to me doing those trainings, and you said, I know you're new in this, but you're very good in what you
Mhm,
do. What are
mhm.
one, two, or maybe three things when people come to your trainings, they say, I didn't think about that. What are some aha moments or some tools or strategies they walk away from they can implement tomorrow to see a change?
Wow. Well, I think, for everyone, there is a click moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so especially while I was watching experienced trainers do that, I would see the reactions of the students saying, "Ah, wow, yes, something similar happened to me at work, and you're right, and I should have acted like that." A guest complaint, for example,
Yeah.
like identifying um, a category of a guest, like a complainer, um, how do you say, a regular guest, or a more needy guest, etc., etc. So while you preach, it's very difficult for me to tell you a specific example, but while you're training them, they have these click moments where they relate it to their experience.
Yeah. I I love that. So for me, give me an example. Because I what I agree with you, and you said it. It's sometimes it's the simple things which makes the biggest impact for them. So
Mhm.
talked about what are one or two of those examples.
Um, okay. So one example that I can remember was when we were talking about how to handle a guest, and there was a specific guest in one restaurant that basically complained about um about the table next to them,
Yeah.
making their children was making too much fuss. So the team tried. They suggested him to move him to another table. He said no. They went to the table next door and discreetly told the manager, went to the table next to them and said discreetly, please, can you tell your kids to keep it down a little bit, because the table next to it would really appreciate it. You need to say it in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bit of a discreet way. And uh, the guest left completely unsatisfied because nothing would work. Basically, nothing would
Yeah.
work. And then he wrote a review, and a very harsh review. And he discreetly hinted that buying a glass of limoncello in the end goes a long way. So um, sometimes you think you've tried everything, and I'm
Yeah.
not. I don't want to say anything bad about a guest. I mean, they're the
Yeah.
ones that pay our salary in the end of the day. But sometimes you think you've tried everything when really you didn't,
Yeah.
and it could be you could buy a problem in a very, very simple and low cost
Yeah. Yeah.
manner. Yeah,
It's great. I love that because it's a good example to kind of educate not just your chefs, your managers, because somebody might think this is an insult if you give them a beverage. To really get an understand and a feeling what they actually looking for. I love the idea that he hinted, hey, this would have been my fix, you know. But I also see the other side. There's people which saying, hey, how dare they trying to pay me off kind of thing. And then also for me, I think you need to be very aware going into a restaurant. It's a public space. And, there's different guests. There's different level. What are you doing if you sit next to somebody who has a birthday party? I
yeah,
think if it's really about, I would sit away. And we always learned there's a very simple, not a simple rule, but sometimes hinting to the customer, hey, what would make this problem go away for you? And I
yeah,
love that idea. So that's
yeah,
fascinating. So I first off, I love what you do. I think more people, and I can talk to you all day about hospitality training because I think it's key. I happened to be away a few days on vacation, and as we came back, or as we were on vacation, for me, there's two things I always look for. Number one, consistency around the staff. And
mhm,
sometimes I just for fun go around, ask both of them the same question, see what answer I get. And what I loved on that particular place at breakfast, the place was packed. They were a little short on staff. You could
mhm,
see the front desk manager come over and
yeah,
started cleaning tables. He didn't ask the guy, "Hey, what can I help you with?" He just went there and started cleaning tables and made this easier for them. For me, I
that's
absolutely loved
awesome,
that.
man.
Yeah, I love that. Not he didn't ask him a question. He just got in there, started cleaning up tables and prepping tables. So I love that. The second thing, what I did was they offered a valet service. And
Mhm,
when you went to the gentleman giving him, the ticket and for them to bring your car around, there was somebody else who came with you and stood with you outside. So they didn't one guy go out and the guy's gone and he's standing outside. They constantly did it that somebody was standing with the customer waiting for the car. I was like, why
Yeah.
would they do that? And I asked him before we left, and he said, "Oh, it's really simple. When people are leaving, or if they have something on anything, I always learn a thing or two about them. Because how great is it if you tell me I'm going to visit this, and when you come back,
Mhm,
they're saying, 'Hey, Mr. Fisher, how was your trip? How did you enjoy seeing the show?' Or
mhm.
he says, it's just I love that. I love that. And the final thing, what I loved was there was never a problem, and for us, we came back late and we asked for a late checkout, and it didn't seem like it bothered them. Sometimes when you ask for a late checkout, they feel like, oh, this guy is inconveniencing me. I absolutely love that. And it was not an expensive hotel. It's just, I absolutely love that. And so for me, that's just crucial. And for me, I think training is huge. But I'm also fascinated. Talk to me. How did you get into blogging? Tell our listeners a little bit what your blog is all about, where they can find it, and what you currently do and how you get started.
So listen, I'm a person that sleeps very little, and the reason is that I'm constantly thinking of a lot of things. And yeah, I'm a bit restless. It's a bit of a curse, especially early in the morning when you wake up at 6 o'clock and you're like, I slept 4 hours, but I cannot sleep anymore. So I'm like, I need an outlet. I need something to take my thoughts out. And to be honest with you, I am not a big fan of what's happening in most social medias right now, where there is extreme negativity,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all that. So that was not the outlet for me.
Hmm.
So I had my LinkedIn account for a while, completely inactive, and I just started like like browsing and scrolling, and I saw that everyone posted things really professional, and all the replies were really, really professional and objective. So I'm like, okay, that's the outlet for me. So now how do I do this? And I started being as I am. I started being over complicating things in the beginning, and then I'm like, okay, you need to shut the fuck up a little bit. And sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to swear, by the way.
No, that's good. Hey, we chefs, we all do.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So I just started putting down my thoughts, and the first one was the most difficult, and then it just came flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing, and I just recently started doing video a little bit, which I really, really, really dread because I hate how I sound on video. I don't know if you get that as well, especially in the beginning,
Oh,
but how shit I think I sound. I say to myself, is this how I sound when I talk to a girl, for example? Like, how did I get any girl to go out with me with this voice? You know what I mean? But I'm like, I need to get over with it, so
full,
I'm just
full,
gonna
full
talk and
transparency. This is me 130, 140 shows, and I still feel the same way. I don't like the way I look. I don't like this. We need to do it, and sometimes we need to push a little bit harder. But that's so true.
yeah, I think it's easier for me when talking to someone else, but the two videos that I did is just me awkwardly talking in the phone. And some people, they do it really well. I don't know. It's like they're talking to another person. You see them, like their expressions are changing and everything. Me,
Yeah.
it's just not blinking and just talking in the same tone of voice. Like it's weird, man. It's really, really weird.
For me, I think we gotten better. We're still getting better. You just need to keep doing it, and that's our thing.
Yeah,
And it's getting. I don't want to say it's getting easier. You get more comfortable, and
yeah.
for me, I'm more interested in the content and what people will learn, um, than just what the my face looks like. So most of the people to this listen, they probably listen to this on podcast, and so they don't gonna see me anyway. So talk to us. So blogging. So you started blogging. How did you niche down your blog? Talk to us a little bit. How did you start out, and how did you wind up being what you do today?
Well, listen, I mean, hospitality was always my thing. So it was easy to niche it down to hospitality first of all, and then it was just a day-to-day thing. I go to work, I observe this, this happened,
Yeah,
I dealt with this, I failed with
love
that,
that.
I succeeded with that, and then I just put everything down on LinkedIn. That's a very simple way of doing it, basically.
Yeah, I
Just
love
instead
that.
of going out in a
Yeah.
bar and complaining to my friends, I just do it on LinkedIn in a positive way.
It's not complaining, it's educating people.
Exactly.
And you know what I love, and as we started, looking for different people to bring on, what we fell in love with is it is actionable things. So if somebody listens to you, I can change this right now and have a better thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have we listened and to one of your video things, and we were like, I can tell you there's 5 people right now. I want them to see it because they feel the same way or they're dealing with the same thing.
Mhm.
And for me, it's important keep doing it because I think the stuff is great. And hospitality really needs cheerleaders. And you're doing an amazing job putting your information out there.
Thank you, Jeff.
So
Uh,
go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, no, no. So talk to us a little bit more. As you know, before the show started, we talked a little bit about talk to us about the place you currently work. And you said your chef is doing something really amazing. So
Mhm.
talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, so basically, our chef is a very unusual person in a good way. Uh, just to make it clear, he's he's quite young. I mean, he started this job when he was like 18, 19 years old, and he's very open-minded. He has the same culture like me, that restaurant service and kitchen should get along. Uh, he's uh, he's a genius on computers. He knows
Yep,
much more than me on he can do miracles on the POS, and he's basically a hacker, man. And you can see that he's completely unusual. He's the best chef I've ever worked with.
that's
He
awesome.
has extreme imagination. So I would give you one example, and then I
Yeah,
will explain you the backstory to it. So you know moussaka, the
yeah,
most
yeah. Mhm.
famous Greek dish. So he recently put in the menu a new dish called spring rolls moussaka. So I've seen many of these dishes, and I've never asked him. And then I'm finally I'm gonna go like, how the hell do you think of doing spring rolls moussaka? Like how? Like who thinks of something like that? He's like, listen, what I do is I take a traditional dish,
Yeah,
I completely deconstruct it, and I'm thinking, how can I make it into a different form?
yeah.
He makes it sound so simple, but
That it's awesome. By the way, it's an amazing dish. I prefer much more with potatoes than with eggplant. I like eggplants, but I
yeah.
think with the potatoes and the meat in it is so much better. So
Mhm.
I love that idea, and I think more people need to do that because there's some really amazing chefs out there. And I just had the conversation with a friend of mine, where a chef, a very famous chef, just was sitting on the table, and then he says, "Oh, I forgot to put his shoe in the freezer." I was like, "Why would you put it in the freezer?" I says, "Don't worry about it." He goes in the kitchen, takes it out frozen, puts it on a slicer, slices it really thin, puts it in a ramekin, microwaves it, and he makes a shell. I was like,
Yeah.
"How do you think about that? How?" It's in the freezer. Oh, I need to throw it out. No, I put it on
Yeah.
the slicer. And then when you slice it, oh, I need to put it in the ramekin and microwave it. How do you think of that? But I think we need more of that because I think food is due for an overhaul, and it's really excited to hear that there's a young chef out there doing amazing stuff. So before we wrap it up, I want to know 2 things
Yeah.
about you. Number one,
Yeah.
why Cyprus? And the second thing is tell our audience a little bit about Cyprus and what a must know about Cyprus and why they need to come and visit you guys.
Okay. So why Cyprus? Well, I am Cypriot, and even though when I left from Cyprus to study, and then when I went to the States, I had, to be 100% honest, I had no plans coming back to Cyprus. My next plan was to go to Dubai.
Hmm.
where I had an offer, and unfortunately, it was 2009, and we all remember what happened in 2009, the recession, and all the jobs froze. And so basically, I went back to Cyprus in a small village away from Limassol. Limassol is like a
Yeah.
big city comparing to where I was. And there I was from basically Miami to a village that I'm not even going to pronounce the name. It doesn't matter. Sitting on the couch and trying to figure out, so what am I going to do now? So a friend of mine called me. He's like, "Listen, there is a hotel in Limassol. It's a member of the leading hotels of the world. They just they closed for renovations and they're about to open. They're looking for supervisors." And I was like, "Okay, why not?" So I applied. Um, I got the job as soon as I came to Limassol. Um, After maybe 24 hours, I loved it so much. I mean, I loved the city so much that I'm like, I think I'm going to stay here for a while. And now it's been 15 years.
That's
And to be honest with you, Cyprus, especially where I live in Limassol, is an amazing city. So multicultural. There's people from all around the world, Americans, Italians, Eastern Europeans, French, Greeks. There's everything, every sort of people that you can imagine. And the culture here in Limassol is amazing. I mean, usually when you go to any other part of the world, the rich hangs out with the rich, the poor with the
hmm.
poor, the gangsters with the gangsters, and the honest people with the honest people. This is not the case here. You can go to a club and it can be you with a rich guy, a millionaire, a gangster, a poor guy, and everybody gets along.
That's awesome.
Uh, so yeah, that's why I'm still here, man.
No, I love it, and I can talk to you for, but I want to be respectful of your time. It's 11 p.m. for, or no, 11:30 or 11:45
No
for you.
problem. You can go
So
ahead. I
I,
don't sleep before 2 o'clock in the morning. So
so I want to say thank you for being here today. Thanks for the gift of your time. Thanks for talking to us about what it takes to be a certified hospitality trainer. Actually, we need to promise us we're doing 2.0 of this. So if people want to know more
okay.
about what you do and know more about your blog, where can people find you?
Basically, they can search my name on LinkedIn, Pavlos Tsangarides. I don't think there's many people with that name, so it should be easy for them to find them. They can hit me up, and I'm more than willing to have a nice chat with them. I'll
Awesome.
be honored, actually.
I appreciate it, and we will put your information in the show notes. But I want to say thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking out for so late. Really means the world to us. And so, our listeners, if you want to know a little bit more what we do, want to get some additional content or behind the scenes glimpse, make sure you join our Disruptive Chef Club, which is our private community. You get a front row seat of all things great. So, with that,
Mhm.
Pablos, I want to say thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. And to our audience, thanks for being here. Remember to disrupt your kitchen, fire up your career, stay hungry for change. I'm Christian here with Pavlos. We are out of here. So I'm the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur host. We are signing off. Be the change, be the challenge, and be the chef who sets the world on fire. With that, Pavlos, thanks for being here today. And to our listeners, go out there and stay disruptive, everybody.